The name is Jack Gene Bruner, MD, and I retired in 2012. And I was president of CSPS in 1995. I had been at LA County for a few years during my early medical career, and I was at Fresno County for my general surgery, and I worked with a plastic surgeon there, and I always liked trauma, and I was really attracted to trauma type patients and literally fixing them and getting back to normal appearance and function again. It was really quite challenging, and I never lost that passion. Success rate is pretty high, and that's always part of my character. I must succeed at any cost. And the process of getting to that level of success that I always demand of myself is doesn't really matter how daunting it is or how long it takes. And the detail doesn't bother me. I realize that I learned a lot in the Army about a lot of things, the chain of command, how headquarters works. I learned to negotiate. I learned a lot of uh, strategic thinking as a gang leader. And all of this brought me together that I could kind of work with puzzles and you'd be very patient. And this helped me even later in my practice to help running a surgery center and things like that. So that really my background gave me the skill sets to little did I know at the time that really did prepare me well for plastic surgery. Well, I settled in a capital city called Sacramento. And in my practice, the group was pretty involved in what's happening down at the Capitol, and that increased a lot over the first 10 years that I was in practice with them. And then suddenly I was very involved in uh, medical advocacy. That surprised me. It wasn't the practice of surgery or the thing that was pretty steady. But one thing that really did improve, and as far as I can tell, is the ability to reconstruct breasts a lot in after cancer. I really became very, very well about that as far as in plastic surgery. That's probably the one thing that surprised me that I was delighted to be involved with because it was an amazing process. So I joined a group in Sacramento, three partners who was very uh, uh, instructive and trained me even more so. Uh, one the older partners, they were involved in this California Society of Plastic Surgeons, of course. And of course, I was going to join. And I they were great mentors to take me along into that. And as soon as I joined, I realized that because I was with these senior partners and because I was in a capital city, I was destined to get involved in medical politics, the advocacy part of it. One of my partners, Dr. Fagella, was very involved in helping the early parts of starting the California PAC, the Political Action Committee. And Dr. Burke, who became president, and they were just involved in this whole process. And I went along with that and I learned more and more. But because I was early on part of a group that was very successful in getting through some important legislation that got the attention of uh, the officers of CSPS. So they uh, kind of, you know, I was somewhat organized. I was somewhat successful with everyone else going forward with advocacy and uh, running a good practice. So that I guess that attracted them to move me into the executive council and then eventually into presidency. Uh, I think each of us, it reminds me of, how did I learn some of the more advanced parts of doing plastic surgery when I went into practice? I don't think I could ever get enough training in rhinoplasty surgery. So when I started practice, I looked at my older partners and I even flew to different surgery centers and worked with different surgeons to get it perfect because that was a very hard surgery to perfect. You find the master of that particular procedure and scrub in. That would, there's no substitute for that. I remember flying back to do rhinoplasty with Dr. George Peck. To me, he was a master at rhinoplasty in Passaic, New Jersey. I spent a few days with him in his OR and doing things like that. There's no substitute for that. There's just absolutely no substitute for kind of, I say, showing up. You have to be there, get your hands involved, get your mind involved, and just keep showing up no matter what happens. You can never get enough showing up. You'll learn, you make a difference, and you teach other people. I think that's the process that young people must get involved in, is learn it the best they can and bring others along.